Tell us just how PropSwap works.
For those who are not familiar, PropSwap is the first and only secondary marketplace for sports bets. So if you place a bet at a casino, when we first spoke, Chaz, that was only in Las Vegas. Now, post 2018, there's legal sports betting in around 20 states now. So if you place a bet at a casino and then you want to get out of it, whether it's for a profit or for a loss, you can post it for sale on PropSwap at a price you determine. Obviously, we will give you a suggested price, what we think it's worth. But as the seller and the bet owner, you decide what you want to post it for. It goes up for sale on PropSwap. It costs you nothing to list it for sale. And then it goes out to our thousands of buyers across the country. And then if it sells, we charge a 10% commission to the seller. And then the buyer gets that ticket. And so essentially, we are the eBay for sports bets.
I love that. I love that. So let me ask you a question. I sent over a list of questions that I was asking. One of the things I asked was, could you tell the story you told me of really the journey and how the tickets move and stuff?
The journey of how PropSwap started? Or
in terms of how you get a ticket to a place where it can be cashed.
Sure. So, like I said, so you can sell from anywhere as long as it was a bet made at a legal sports book. So, for example, if you live in California and you come to Vegas to make a bet, you go home with them. You can then post those tickets for sale. We always, if you're thinking about using PropSwap in the future, well, we have a slogan called "Go for Two," meaning if you like a team to, let's say, win the championship. Let's say you like the Bucks before the season, and you were going to bet $100 on them. Make two $50 tickets instead. So that way, it's I don't want to say we're like the stock market, but in my opinion, by making multiple tickets, it's like buying shares of a team, right? So, whether let's say you want to make four $25 tickets, that's like buying 4 shares of a team. And so, therefore, while the season's going on, you can decide to sell one and or sell 2 and keep 2. It just gives you flexibility, right? And so, so that way you don't feel like you're having to make a choice of do you sell or do you hold. It gives you flexibility of selling for a profit while also keeping some skin in the game in case it wins. So you can sell from anywhere. You post a ticket for sale, and then once we find you a buyer, the ticket comes to our office. If it's a Vegas ticket, it comes to Vegas. If it's a New Jersey ticket, it goes to our office in Jersey. We've got locations all across the country. Once we receive and verify the ticket, then you get paid as the seller. And then we hold on to the ticket so that if you buy it, you can resell it multiple times. So we've had some tickets that sell 5, 6, 7 times during the season because, like I said, it's like a stock. So team starts hot, goes up, it starts down, it goes down, and people will buy and sell the same ticket over and over again.
It totally makes sense. So what is the biggest ticket PropSwap has ever handled?
So we came close to breaking it last month, but officially the biggest sale we ever had was in 2019, about 2 days before the Saints-Rams NFC Championship game. We have a customer he's a professional sports bettor. He had wagered $8,000 on the Saints to win the Super Bowl before the season at 20-1 odds. And then he sold that ticket on PropSwap 2 days before the NFC Championship game for $57,500. And it was an interesting sale because the 2 people who bought the ticket, they went in together, was Cousin Sal and Clay Travis. They went in together. They bought the ticket for $57,000 total on the Saints. And then, of course, 2 days later, suffered one of the worst non-calls in sports history.
John, you and I saw that play together in Vegas, remember?
We did.
That was the no call on the pass interference.
That was a no. We were all sitting there like, what was going on? I was on the Saints too, so I fear with Cousin Sal on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I had the under on that game, so it didn't matter to me.
Yeah.
It's one thing to make a bet and lose it, and you didn't have the right side, but it's a whole other thing when you make a bet and
they steal it. They steal it from you.
Yeah, and they steal it from you. So. But look, but to your point, Chaz, earlier about win-win, right? So yes, so obviously the seller won in that situation. He turned $8,000 into $57,000. I mean, and again, so this is a common pushback we hear is, oh, just hedge your bet, right? So if you were to hedge that bet and not use PropSwap in that situation, you would have had to have wagered like $75,000 on the Rams money line in that situation, right? Which, guess what? Most people don't have that kind of money sitting around. So we hear the term hedge all the time instead of selling, but hedging requires money, and if you hedge once and the hedge bet loses, then you need even more money to hedge the second time, right? So selling requires no money, and you just put up for sale, and we'll find you the buyer. And in some cases, we will get you more money than you would if you hedged, because we can sell to guys like Cousin Sal and Clay Travis who have more money than they know what to do with, and they're sitting in California and they can't bet legally. So that was the largest bet that we sold. We came close to breaking that in December. We have another customer who he bet, and this is becoming more and more popular. I don't know if you guys are doing this too, but these future parlays where you're parlaying multiple teams to win the championship in different sports. They're becoming extremely popular. And so we have a customer who he parlayed the Lightning to win the Stanley Cup, the Seattle Storm to win the WNBA, the Dodgers to win the World Series, all tied with the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. And he bet $400 for that on that ticket to pay a potential $171,000. So the first three hit, obviously, and then not midway through, late in the season, he sold that ticket on PropSwap again for $57,000. So the seller turns $400 into $57,000, and the buyer is looking to turn $57,000 into $171,000, and he's now only one game away from doing that.
Well, and again, then that's the thing when I say win-win. Not every one of those tickets is going to cash, but if you were going to make that bet anyway, but when you are a buyer on PropSwap, what you're saying is I'm getting better odds than the market. So
right,
I was
exactly.
going to make that bet. It doesn't mean I'm going to win that bet, but that's where it's a win situation.
Right, exactly. And that was the point I was going to bring up about the Saints ticket. Same thing happened there, right? So even though the result doesn't matter, right? As they would say, bet numbers, not teams, right? And so if you consistently get the best of the number, that will pay off for you in the long run, right? So yeah, so in this Chiefs example, right, the guy who spent $57,000, he got odds of 2-1. At that time, the Chiefs, only had one loss and they were rolling. They hadn't have all these close games. They were plus 175. Right, so in fact, if he wanted to make a bet at the sports book to collect the same amount of money, it would have cost him $10,000 more. So even if this bet loses, he in theory is saving himself $10,000 by not having to go to the sports book. So yes, you're right, Chaz. It's not the result obviously matters to some degree, but getting the best of the number, that's what these guys do.
And they're good at it. Now, okay, 24, give or take, a couple dozen states have legalized it. Oh, by the way, California, hello, knock, knock, knock. What are you doing? But anyway, how many 24 of those states do you guys have a rep in?
Pretty much all of them, or if not, in different regions. So there's pretty much every state that has legal sports betting, minus one or two, we serve. So if you're out there, whether it's Iowa or Mississippi or Delaware, Rhode Island, New Mexico, Oregon, doesn't if you've got a legal betting ticket, we can help you. However, we do get asked daily about offshore tickets, and unfortunately, we never have, we never will, and it has to be a legal ticket. But fortunately, I know Californians are not too optimistic, but fortunately, legal sports betting is spreading throughout the country. So I feel pretty good that we'll be able to serve the entire country in short time.
Okay, so the question that I wanted to ask you was, you mentioned all this growth, and you mentioned offshore. You didn't mention mobile. If I place a big bet in my legal account online, and it's a future bet, can I go to that place and get a printout of that to send to you?
Unfortunately, no. I mean, you can get a printout of it, but it's not going to remove the bet from the app, right? So if it wins, the money's still going into your account, right? And there's no way for us to transfer the ownership from your betting account to someone else's betting account. I will say that is obviously in our roadmap. Never say never. I do think we will get to the point where whether it's you're transferring it yourself or it's automatically getting transferred, there will be a time where mobile bets are getting transferred. So to answer your question, how do we address mobile bets? We have a seller rating system, right? So I open this by saying like we're eBay, right? So on eBay, sellers have ratings, right? And you don't want to buy from a bad seller, you want to buy from a good seller, right? And so the way we work is the more sales you complete, the higher your rating. And so if you complete 10 sales, if you successfully list, sell, and deliver 10 paper tickets, we then unlock the ability to sell mobile tickets, right? And so that's a way of you kind of boosting your seller rating to say, hey, I'm a good seller, I'm reputable, I'm trustworthy, and then you can start selling your mobile tickets, and essentially it will allow it gets you paid quickly, and if it wins, you pay us the collect amount, and we pay the buyer. And we've got a ton of these sellers who are making actually really good money. Like it's not just like oh, I made one ticket, let me sell this. It's a legitimate side hustle. Some of these guys who they're price shopping, they're finding the best numbers, they're posting them for sale, and they're feeding the demand that we have here on PropSwap.
I remember my first ever garage sale. I didn't want to do it, but my wife and the neighbors got together having a garage sale. So I think it was supposed to start at 7 o'clock, and at 6 o'clock, those people were knocking on our door so they could buy it and take it to the swap meet and resell it. So yeah. I guess human beings are pretty consistent. It doesn't really matter what the subject.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, look, there's secondary marketplaces for cars, for houses, for shoes, and so we're just the secondary marketplace for sports bets.
All right, so before we let you go, what we want to do is get some inventory from you. You've got, going into the weekend, there were only 4 teams left. So there was a lot of tickets, I would imagine, that were going to be torn up. And do you guys tear them up? Do you send them back to the loser? How do you handle that?
Yeah, so if it's a ticket that's already sold and we have it and it loses, yeah, we tear it up. But remember, you don't send the ticket in until it sells, right? So, we had plenty of people who, were trying to sell over the weekend. Sometimes, people, they want to sell too late, right? So, for example, they got a Bills ticket and they're uber confident about their Bills ticket until all of a sudden now they're down and Patrick Mahomes is running it down their throat. And now all of a sudden they want to sell, right? So, some people were smart and they cashed out early on their Bills tickets. Some people got greedy and they try to hold out. But the other cool thing is that people are buying and selling during the game too, right? And we are the only place in the world where people can buy and sell these futures mid-game. And when you get down to the playoffs, it's like it's this highly volatile, really fun marketplace of like, again, like you're selling a Super Bowl future during the AFC Championship game, and it's a really fun thing. And honestly, that's one of the most common things I hear from customers. It's not about the money or the value; it's fun. Like that
would be an adrenaline rush. There's no doubt about it, man. But you're talking to guys that we do live action on our show. So once we come back from our next break, what we'll do is we'll be checking our scores. So we understand the opportunities right here, right now, and for somebody who's had that ticket, and no matter what, say you spent $400, $500, $100, $20, whatever you spent, when that ticket value gets to the point where it's 40x or 30x, and you're saying, wow, you know what, for $20 now, I've got $600 I can get, even though it would pay $1,500. You can get that $600, and a guy comes in and he knows what he's doing. He's going to get 2 for 1 on his money almost. You don't get 2 for 1 on a straight bet very often.
Right. Exactly. These things have a way to pay out huge, but again, only one team's winning the championship, right? And so, so when you make these futures tickets, you got to say to yourself, the goal here is to make money, right? That's the name of the game, making money, right? It's not a lottery ticket. It's you got in it so that you could end up with more than you started with, right? And so that's what we kind of preach is that, don't get greedy, because, just don't look at that collect amount on the ticket and say, oh, this is what I want. Start to think, think about investing, right? ROI, right? If I can make a bet and then get out for 5 times more, that's a pretty good deal. When's the last time you hit a 5-to-1 shot, right? not too frequently. But don't get caught up on the 25 to 1, 50 to 1. Just try and make your money and move on to the next one.